Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope all of you are having a lovely weekend so far. Welcome to this IELTS speaking part 2 session, talking about an early arrival. Welcome Fong, hi Ahmed, Anahita, Angel, Domenico. Nice to see members in the class. This is a members chat class, everybody. To join the chat, you need to be a member of our channel. Simply click the join button next to the subscribe button. By the way, if you don't see that, send us an email and we can give you some further help. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Visit us there. For general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that power these live classes. If you are in these live classes regularly, make sure to go there, sign up, and get the full effect of these live sessions. This is our academic IELTS website here. Click this big red button to join our premium IELTS package. It's just above my head. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, and it really doesn't cost a lot, especially when you consider the cost and importance of the IELTS test. We're an IELTS IDP affiliate, British Council partner, IELTS Test Registration Center. I'm a certified British Council agent. You are in great hands with us. For general IELTS, check out gieltshelp.com. We will be using these websites to practice speaking. Not just chatting and typing in the chat, but actual conversations. So exciting. And we do have speaking part 3 after this class, which is open for everybody to join the chat. So definitely a good time to be here and learn with me today. Students, general IELTS, gieltshelp.com, aehelp.com. Those are the websites. Use the code SPICE9 for an extra 10% discount on the websites. We've got apps for you: academic IELTS help, general IELTS help. These apps link to the websites. Instagram is IELTS_AE help, GIELTS help for live schedules and reels for vocabulary. We're here to help you every single day learn a bit more English and a bit more communication to really succeed on IELTS and in life. My email, if you have questions, adrian@aehelp.com, admin@aehelp.com. That will get you in contact with me. Also through the websites, you can contact us anytime. There's a button in there. And Amazon does have our books, AE Helps, Academic IELTS, G Helps, General IELTS. They've got 4 books, exam books of ours, so you can check those out. Students, the schedule is now ready for next week, May 20th to 27th. So we have speaking part 2 right now, followed by speaking part 3 after this class. And then we've got speaking part 1 on the 25th. And then we've got task 1, reading, more speaking next week. So keep going. Regular practice is absolutely key. And then, of course, we have regular releases. We're going to be releasing another video here shortly for you. In the meantime, check this one out. This is a good one. I'll put it into the chat there for everybody. Okay, students, let's do this. So let's get into the cue card. IELTS speaking, as many of you know, it has 3 parts. Part 2, I think, it's kind of the scariest for a lot of people, but it shouldn't be. You should be excited about part 2. You should be like, okay, here's my chance to really shine, really show my English. So speaking part 2, instead of being nervous about it, tackle it with confidence. Basically, the way it works is in speaking part 1, the examiner will ask you to introduce yourself, your name, your identification. They will ask you some questions on a general topic like your hobbies, movies, sports, and then they will say, that is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to read these, think about your answers. You can take notes in this 1 minute time if you wish. You have some note paper and a pencil, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. And Angel, yes, you can absolutely lie in this part of the test. You can lie in any part of the test. It's not really lying. You're just proving English, right? It might not be. So instead of saying lying, it sounds kind of harsh, Angel, you're storytelling, okay? And that's okay. That's good. Sometimes it's easier to storytell. Sometimes it makes sense. If possible, and you can tell the truth and you do have a real experience, then I recommend talking about that. It will be a bit easier, especially to follow up with your ideas in part 3. So yeah, you can make up a story, Angel. Exactly. Okay, and then the examiner has a little booklet. They have so many different part 2 questions to choose from. Please do not try to predict it. This morning I saw another silly prediction, like final prediction about listening test. Listening answers leaked. Yeah, thanks for that. Now we all have to redo the IELTS exam if you leak the listening section, right? Some people will do anything to get clicks. It's crazy. Yeah, no, it's not good. If you see a video that says answers leaked, you should say, please don't do that. I have an IELTS test coming up and I don't want to sit it twice, right? I said this, I think, in yesterday's class, that if you see like a leaked question and it's actually real, usually it's not. Usually it's fake. Usually, Angel, those are the people lying. But if it's real and they actually leaked the question and they put it online before your test, I guarantee you IELTS will discover that and they will make people redo the test. So it's not nice for anybody. So yeah. So don't try to predict the card. Don't try to guess what your card will be. And don't endorse those kinds of silly advertisements because it's just bad for everybody. So instead, know the strategy. So understand what you actually have to do. And that's the best way. Okay, there are a lot of great videos out there, not just our channel. There are, of course, other IELTS channels. There's a lot of great videos out there that teach you strategies that are effective, that work well. And that's what you should do. You should use good English, good strategy, good thinking, and you will do just fine. Okay. Also, of course, when people try to predict or guess, then they get surprised more. I've talked to a couple of students that were like, oh, I thought they were going to ask me about this, but it was so different and I was so surprised. Yeah, no, just be ready for whatever the topic is, right? Okay, so, all right, let's do it. So they open this booklet. And they basically say, now we will begin part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. And then they will say, talk about a time when you had to arrive early. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. And in that moment, your eyeballs are looking at the questions, okay? Sometimes some candidates will start writing notes, like they'll be like, okay, notes, dentist, appointment, let's see, doctor, office, and they just start writing these notes. Now it's like, okay, whoa, brakes, the expression, gear down, big rig. Yeah, I'll teach you that. Gear down, big rig. It's kind of a funny expression. I like this one. Gear down, big rig. It means slow down. Gearing, that's when you're driving a car. When you gear down, you slow down. And a big rig is like a large truck, okay? With cargo. All right, so you have to gear down, okay? If you just start writing notes as soon as the examiner says your 1 minute starts now, you're like, what are you doing? First of all, you don't need to write down the word dentist. If you're going to talk about your dentist appointment, I'm sure you're going to remember the word dentist. You don't need to write it down. Same with appointment, same with doctor, same with office. These are obviously words you will remember and use, so these are completely useless. Okay? You don't need to do that. All right, instead, this is what you do. Okay? And 1 minute, everybody, again, it's not a lot of time, but it is a lot of time for the brain. Okay? Count to 60 seconds as 60 seconds, and you will see that it's a fair bit of time. Okay? So step one, okay, this is where you go strategy, step by step. Step one. Read the card carefully, all the questions, okay? Read all the questions carefully. In fact, it might be a good idea to read them twice, okay? Because one of the main criteria for getting a high band score, for getting a good result from the examiner, is to answer all the questions on the card. Okay. So, here we go. Talk about a time when you had to arrive early. Where did this happen? When was it? What is the reason you needed to be early? What did you do during the waiting time? Okay, good. So now I know what information the examiner is looking for. And again, I can read it twice, right? So nice and fast. Talk about a time when you had to arrive early. Where did this happen? When was it? What is the reason you needed to be early? What did you do during the waiting time? Okay, good. All right. So now what I need to do in the next step is to identify the category. Okay, so again, is it a person, a place, an object, an event, or an idea? Each of these has a way to clearly talk about it. So here we're talking about an event, right? Because it's a time when I had to arrive early. That's right, Fuang. That's right, Anonymous. It's an event. And when you talk about an event, what should you say? So what do you need to tell your listener to clearly discuss an event, an occurrence, an experience? Okay. Let's think about it. Yeah, the time and the location. That's right, Fuang. So time, location. And it's asking you for that, right? Like the cue card actually says, where did it happen? When was it? Okay, so time, location. Attendees, yeah. Yeah, so the people that were there. Who was there? Okay. All right. Good. What else? What else? The next one's a big one. Oh, there it is. Chayani, very good. Activities, yeah. And one more. Experiences. That's right, Fuang. Very nice. So as long as you talk about the time, as long as you talk about the location, as long as you talk about the attendees, the people that were there, the activities, the experiences, you will do all right. In fact, if you use good vocabulary and good grammar, good connecting words, you will do great. Okay, and you will get that high band score. All right, so the event. Now, also identify in the second step the tense. Okay? So the tense here is past, past perfect, maybe some present perfect. Okay, maybe some past continuous. Okay? All right. Mostly, right? Because it's a time when you had to. Where did this happen? When was it? What was the reason? Okay? So it's all in the past. Mostly, anyway, for sure. All right. Step 3 is a big one. Step 3. What is step 3? The third step. These first 3 steps are super, super important. If you do these first 3 steps and you're really nervous and you don't have time for notes, I genuinely think that you can get a very good mark. Okay? These first 3 steps are almost more important than your notes because if when you see these, like these are your notes. So if you look at step 2, and your notes are just time, location, attendees, activities. So if these were your notes, okay, if this is all you had for notes, you can do great. Okay. Because these are prompts. These words prompt you on what you have to include. So it's actually better than having dentist and office and doctor, okay? Because here you know, okay, I have to talk about time. Okay, I have to talk about location, right? Okay, so very good. Amra says, come up with 2 to 3 ideas. Angel says, don't necessarily choose the first idea that pops into your mind. Chinese says, yeah, maybe don't use a common idea like the dentist, right? Okay, yeah, so think of 2 to 3 good ideas. All right, time when you had to arrive early. All right, give me some ideas, students. I don't want to spoil it for you. So what are some common situations? And try to think of some real ones. I know that I can think of some real ones for some of you, for sure. Anonymous says, IELTS exam. Yeah, okay. Why not? You could use it. It'd be funny. Actually, I had to arrive early to this very IELTS exam. Yeah, you could. You could talk about that, for sure. Okay, catch a flight. To France, let's say. So be specific. Okay. Domenico says, meeting the dentist or doctor is not so original. Fuang says, friend's wedding. Sure. Shiny, catch a train. Say, catch a train to Jakarta, right? Yeah, Domenico says meeting with a boss or supervisor. Now, Domenico, you notice how you're saying meeting with your boss? Make it personal. So the cue card is about you. So immediately your brain should be thinking me. So meeting with my boss. Yeah, potentially a job interview, right? Very good. Amra says job interview for audit position. Now here's and Romelia. There you are, Romelia. As I thought, I saw somebody say hi, and then I didn't see you in the chat, but you're there. Good. Okay, and here's one that I believe most of us will still remember, and I know I do, and I always arrived early. University final exams. Definitely don't want to be late for those, right? So, you know, there's some situations where we try to be early, like the dentist, but if we're late, it's not the end of the world. You know, they can reschedule. There are some situations where being late is catastrophic, and one of those situations are the university final exams, right? Okay. Amra says yes, exactly. So final exams at university, definitely I would recommend not being late for those. It could be devastating. Okay. All right. So let's now go to step 4, which is to take notes. Okay. All right. So time. And again, now that you know what you're doing, instead of time, all you need to do is just write in brackets like T. So, and then here, Angel, if you've done university, then you can, or if it's high school, maybe your high school final exams, right? Or your government exams for high school. It's a big one too, right? Okay. Domenico says, I had a meeting with my supervisor. Feels like it happened yesterday. Yeah, you could do that too, right? Okay, so I'm going to go with the university final exams. I think that's one that's really prominent for everybody. And Angel, I'm sure you'll agree that that's one where you don't really have to lie. You really do have to be on time, or, well, I should say early for those. I don't recommend trying to show up just on time for your university finals, okay? And I'm sure a lot of you are already getting tons of ideas. Now, be careful, students, when you have a really good one and you're like, ooh, that's a good one. Ooh, I'm going to ace this. You have to be really careful not to have too much information coming into your head and then you say too much in a very confusing way, right? Okay. So, Anahita says Friday, 2018. Yes, sure. Keep it short. I don't know about final exams in other places, but here they can be at all over the place. So they can be early in the mornings. They start early, and some of them go as late as like 5 or 6 o'clock, their start times in the afternoon. But I'm just going to go with an early one. I'm going to go with a 9 o'clock one. 9 a.m. I definitely had some early final exams, right? Okay. Chani says, if I'm late, the professor's going to scold me. Chayani, I think in Indonesia, they're a lot kinder than here. In Canada, in university, if you're late for your final exam and you do not have a doctor's note or a very good excuse, they can fail you for that exam, not let you in, or they just let you in, and if you're late, you don't have that amount of time, right? Sometimes they don't let you in. Some exams, they will not actually let you into the exam. In Canada, once the exam starts, they close the doors and that's it. It's done. And some exams, they might let you in, but you lose a lot of time and that can cost you marks, right? So, okay, so the time, the location. Now, here again, just do an L for location. So don't write out location when you know that you need to write about location. Right, location, right? Okay, look at Fuang just flying along, saying 5 a.m. up. Yeah. Sure. Okay, you can jump back when you have a good idea of like when you actually woke up. Yeah, you can add that back, Fuang. Okay, location. So I'm not going to write university because I know it's at the university. Okay. Anahita says dormitory, Kabul, Afghanistan. So yeah, Anahita, maybe naming the city is not a bad idea. Okay. Anonymous says central part of Alexanderplatz Airport. All right. Angel, focus on the university exam. You don't write university exams at the airport. Okay. So the location would be a auditorium. And maybe it's a new building. I don't know about other universities, but for me, at the University of Victoria, where I graduated from in psychology, it's a big university. I think now it has about 20-something thousand students. When I was there, it was, I think, around 16,000 students. And one of the tricky parts of final exams was actually finding the place. They always had them in different rooms. They never had them in the same room that we actually learned in. They always found a new room. There was some weird reason for that, but sometimes just finding the room was like, what building, where am I going, right? Is that like that for anybody else? Where in your I think it's for large universities, for big universities, they have this. They put you in the final exam in like a completely different place. Okay, all right. Anonymous, I have not done my master's. I did 2 years of research, but I did not do it as a master's. I did it as employment. So I published, but not as master's. Oh, no, 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 Angel. Yeah, we're doing university exam. Fuang says, yes, sir. Okay. So, location, auditorium, new building. Okay, maybe you can even add the word tricky. It was tricky. They're tricky to find sometimes. Like you have to go downstairs through these hallways. They're tricky to find. Okay, attendees. And then here you can just do like an AT, like that. Okay, so you know that you don't need the brackets, right? Of course. Okay, who goes to the exam? Okay, I'm just showing you what I would be writing here. Okay, so classmates, other sections, 300, maybe your roommates, maybe some friends. Okay, quite possibly. All right, good. That will come in useful. Okay, activities. And here you can do just like an AC, like that. Okay, for the activities. All right, so what kind of activities happen? Now, friends, there would be invigilators as well. You have those in the IELTS as well. Those are the people who tell you what to do, where to go. Invigilator. Maybe your professors there. Sometimes they are. Often they're not. Sometimes they are. Okay. Yeah, you can call them examiners. Yep, invigilator or examiner, sure. Activities, what happens? Okay, at the exam, or what happens before the exam? Okay, what are the activities? Let's see what comes to mind. I don't want to, I have like 100 different activities that jumped into mind here. Okay, Anonymous says clearing last minute doubts. Okay, when you check your notes in the last minute, what is that called, everybody? So, last minute study, there's a word for that in English. That's definitely one of the first actions or activities that come to mind. Okay. Yep, reviewing notes, for sure, Angel. There's a way we say that. It starts with a C. C-R-A are the first three words. Try to do it without Googling first, okay? It's called what? It's called cramming. You're cramming, okay? Cram means to try to stuff or really pack in tight. It's called cramming. Okay, so last minute cramming. Sure. All right. Now, if you think about friends and roommates, you're maybe having a discussion about topics. Okay. All right. Anonymous, finding a good seat. Yeah, that's a good one, Anonymous. I agree with you. I when I did my exams, I did try to find a good seat that was comfortable, that was I wasn't feeling crowded, maybe an aisle seat. Right? So somewhere where I had a bit of space. Yes, definitely. Finding a good seat was always a good one. It's always such a pain when you're like the last one in the exam room, and then you get stuck between like two big people, and you're just like, oh, this is gonna be horrible. I have 3 hours. I'm squeezed between these two huge people. So yeah, finding a good seat. What else? There's another one. Think quick, think critical. Students, there's one that I highly recommend as an activity before starting your university test, especially when you have those nice big 3-hour ones. What is it? Fuang's having a good laugh. That's great, Fuang. Happy to bring a smile to your face. Yep, I already had that, Fuang. Finding somebody to talk to. What else? Hydrate. Washroom. Right? I say this for the IELTS exam as well. So have a drink of water. Go take a pee. Right? It's terrible when you go into an exam and you're all nervous, and in the first 5 minutes you're like, oh, I gotta go pee. But I don't want to be that person who goes and pees in the first 5 minutes. I just look silly. And then so many people, what they do is they hold it because they don't want to be the person to go pee in the first 5 minutes. So they need to pee for like the first half hour, and then finally it gets so bad that they're like, okay, this is silly. I gotta go pee before I pee myself, because that's even worse. That's so embarrassing. So I'm gonna finally go pee. But the first half hour of the exam, they're sitting there and they can't think about the questions and the exam, because their brain's just like, you gotta go pee, you gotta go pee, you really gotta go pee. Well, you should have gone pee before you came into this room, right? So I think it's happened to most of us at one point in life. Show up early, go to the washroom, go take a pee, right? Okay, so don't be the person who's holding it for the first half hour because you're embarrassed to go pee in the first 5 minutes. And you know what? If you forget and you need to go pee in the first 5 minutes, go pee in the first 5 minutes, okay? Nobody really cares that much. And if the invigilator gives you a look, then just say, well, that's me this time, sorry, right? It's exactly, Perrin, it's nature's call. It's an expression in English. Yes, it is, Perrin. Nature's call. To go pee. Okay, it's a good expression. Amra says, health should be in the first place. Yes, indeed. Okay, so also catching public transport, right? So one of the reasons you should always go to exams early is you never know. There could be a road accident. There could be other delays with the transit system. So public transit, right? All right. And the experience. So how did you feel about it, right? Well, you probably felt good if you went early and you studied and you were ready, right? So you probably felt prepared. Maybe you scored 95% on it, right? Okay. And you were proud of yourself. Okay, potentially. Okay. All right. Now, don't go into too much detail. So ideally, students, and you're like, 1 minute, really? Yes. When you know what to do in your IELTS test for part 2, you can do a lot in the 1 minute. You can go through a lot of steps. And I have seen candidates who trained with us, trained through our websites regularly, go through these 5 steps and really do well with whatever topic they get. So as the last step, step 5, you need to come up with that first sentence, right? So think about your first sentence. This will create fluency and confidence. For this, use the topic question. Okay, so here the topic question is, talk about a time when you had to arrive early. Okay, so, and again, remember numbers, it's time, right? Early, so you need to use numbers. All right, give me your first sentence, students. So first sentence. Romelia, I'd love to see some sentences from you as well. So first sentence. All right. I'm going to type up a sentence while you're thinking about it. All right, there we go. Let's see what you come up with. So don't overcomplicate that first sentence. Keep that first sentence fairly simple. And the reason for that, right? And some people are like, well, but the examiner wants like fancy words and like really complicated sentences. Yes, but not for every sentence, right? So it's good to speak with compound, complex sentences with good joining words, great vocabulary, but that's not for every sentence. And your first sentence, it's a good idea to make it fairly simple so that it's 100% clear for your audience, for the examiner in this case, and that they understand it clearly, okay? All right, Fluang in the chat writes, back in July of 2018, I had to be on time at my national examination, and this was also the first time I had to arrive at dawn. Okay, very good, Fluang. Amra says, a time that I distinctly remember having to arrive early, at least 30 minutes in advance, was my university final exam back in 2021. Okay, Amra, there's a couple of grammatical mistakes there. Check that out. So I distinctly remember having to arrive early 1 hour before my final exams in university. Specifically, I remember arriving 2 hours early for my third year biology exam in 2004. There. So I'm going to be even more specific, and it's good to be specific. So I don't want to just talk about exams in general. I had lots of them. I'm sure you will too. Okay. And it's good to focus on one, because 1 to 2 minutes is not a lot of time, and I can easily talk to you about arriving early for my biology exam for 1 to 2 minutes. Okay. Yes, Amra, exactly. Having. Good. Anahita says, a time that I had to arrive early, which evoked a nice memory, is one of is a Friday in 2016. For what, Anahita? So Anahita, make sure to include your answer in the first sentence. For what? For what did you arrive early? Okay. The start time for the exam was set at 9 a.m. and I got to the university grounds for 7 a.m. so that I could get comfortable and prepare myself for this 3-hour grueling test. Grueling here means challenging or difficult. Grueling exam. It's like you have to fight through it. It's a lot of hard work. Grueling exam. Okay? All right. Good. Now, the goal, students, keep this in mind, is to answer all of the questions on the card within the first 90 seconds. And then if you have more time, if the examiner doesn't stop you, you can go into more details, especially about the activities and the experience. Okay? But be sure to answer all the questions on the cue card in the first 90 seconds. Okay? Do not keep talking until the examiner stops you. Do not go off topic. Answer all the questions on the cue card in the first 90 seconds. It's really important for task completion. Okay? All right. Gopu, it's good to write in the chat if you have a different topic, but we're looking at the university test right now. You can think about that for when you volunteer. Okay? All right. So, now here you can see that where did this happen? We kind of already answered that. The when was it? That one we definitely answered very clearly. So we're already on to the what the reasons were and what did you do. And those in this case will kind of be combined, right? So I'm going to talk about the attendees nice and quick and then get right into the activities, all right? The exam was sat by 300 of my peers, including some friends, and there were about a half dozen examiners and supervisors present. The reason I decided to show up 2 hours ahead of time is because, okay, so see the nice joining words here. The reason I is because. The reason I, and again, it's speaking, everybody, so don't forget to speak and repeat. So the reason I decided to show up 2 hours ahead of time is because I needed to do some last minute cramming, especially about the endocrine system. I wanted to make sure that I have a good seat, and I reminded myself to go to the washroom so that I do not need to be inconvenienced in the first half hour. Okay? All right. So there we go. So now I'm getting into why I arrived early. Furthermore, I live about a 30-minute bus ride from the university, or I lived, maybe. I no longer live there, right? Past tense. And I wanted to make sure that I have ample time to get to the test in case of troubles with the commute, like the bus is delayed or heavy morning traffic. All right. So now I've pretty much answered all the questions on the card, right? And it's about 90 seconds in. So what is the reason you needed to be early? Okay. That one I can talk more about. What did you do during the waiting time? I talked about that as well. Okay. So students, keep writing. Don't be shy. Okay. Domenico says, if my memory serves me correctly, there was a time in 2013 when I had to arrive early around 8 a.m. It was for the first meeting with my new supervisor. Okay. Perrin says, I distinctly remember having to arrive 1 hour before boarding the flight. Good, Perrin. So your first sentences. All right. Domenico says, which had been scheduled 2 days after my arrival in Jalapa, Veracruz, Mexico. Yes, I've never been to Veracruz, but I hear it's nice. Okay, so now I can expand. So if the examiner is still looking at me like, okay, good talking, you can keep talking, then I can expand, okay? I can add more details. So, it was quite fortunate. Let me bring this up a little higher so you can see it better. It was quite fortunate that I went so early and glanced over my notes, because some of the information actually came up on the test. Overall, I felt very comfortable and energetic throughout the exam. And indeed, this was reflected in my final score, which was 95%. Now, let's say I'm talking for like, 100 seconds, okay? And the examiner's still kind of staring at me like, ooh, I love your story. Tell me more. What can you do, students? Yeah, so I'm talking about my experience here, Anahita, absolutely. Yeah, Fuang, exactly. I was thinking about that too. We could talk about chatting with some of the cohorts and getting some last-minute tips. Now, the examiner's kind of looking at me like, okay, you answered all the questions, and I'm really enjoying the story. Keep talking. You're doing so good. What can you do? Okay. What can you do? I know there's a 6-second delay, so I'm giving you a little bit of extra time here to really think about it. Anahita says, why did you feel excited? No. Chani says, look at the cue card again, make a summary. Anahita, there you go, conclude. Yeah, conclude it. So this is clearly a time when I didn't simply aim to be punctual, but I really wanted to be as early as possible. Yeah, exactly, right? So final exams, you're not just showing up 5 or 10 minutes before, you're showing up an hour to 2 hours before. So, yeah. All right. Good. Let's go through the answers. So again, for everybody watching, here's the cue card we're looking at today. It's an event. The question is, talk about a time when you had to arrive early. Where did this happen? When was it? What is the reason you needed to be early? What did you do during the waiting time? Your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. I distinctly remember having to arrive 1 hour before my final exams in university. Specifically, I remember arriving 2 hours early for my third-year biology exam in 2004. The start time for the exam was set at 9 a.m. and I got to the university grounds for 7 a.m. so that I could get comfortable and prepare myself for this 3-hour grueling test. The exam was sat by 300 of my peers, including some friends, and there were about a half dozen examiners and supervisors present. The reason I decided to show up 2 hours ahead of time is because I needed to do some last-minute cramming, especially about the endocrine system. I wanted to make sure that I have a good seat, and I reminded myself to go to the washroom so that I do not need to be inconvenienced in the first half hour. Furthermore, I lived about 30 minutes bus ride from the university, and I wanted to make sure that I have ample time to get to the test in case of trouble with the commute, like the bus is delayed or heavy morning traffic. If I were to show up late to the test, they could lock me out and I could fail the exam. And if I fail the exam, I could even fail the semester, which would be quite terrible. It was fortunate that I went so early and I glanced over my notes because some of the information actually came up on the test. Overall, I felt very comfortable and energetic throughout the exam. And indeed, this was reflected in my final score, which was 95%. So, clearly a time when I didn't simply aim to just be punctual, but I really wanted to be early as possible, was my final exam at university. Okay. I didn't quite stick to script. I wanted to challenge some of you, especially those of you who are in that upper intermediate advanced level of English. Okay, you should always be challenging yourself. When you're practicing, use your notes as a guide. Make it natural. Make it you. Okay? All right? Yes? Everybody's good? Let's try it. Let's do it. Are you ready? Everybody ready? Ready to do some volunteering? Here we go, students. Let's do it. Let's volunteer for speaking. This is how you do it. Okay. First, go to the website. Boom. aehelp.com. Okay. Go to your My Student account. Click on Student Partner Speaking and enable your microphone. Everybody says, yes, I'm ready. That is great. Okay, here we go. Let's do it. So website, aehelp.com. Big red button. Boom, there it is. That's what you got to click to join it. And then you go to your My Student account, which has tons and tons of goodies. It's got the computer-based practice exams, online academic IELTS course, exam books. Off to the left here, we have Student Partner Speaking. There it is. Click on that. And then you're in here. Hako is in here. Thu, Vlad, Gopu, Shokjahan, Fuang, Anahita. Very nice. Now, students, you will see me in here as well. You will see my handle, all big letters, master, like that. Easy to see, hopefully. And then click on the blue envelope that's beside my name. Okay. And write me a message like, I want to volunteer, or I'd like to try. Okay? All right, let me put on my ears here so I can hear you better. All right. Okay. Let's try Fuang today. First, Fuang, are you ready? Fuang is very studious. We'll let her start off the volunteering if she's available. If you're there, Fuang, let me know. All right.
Hi, sir.
Hi, Fuang. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic today. How about you, sir?
I'm doing good as well. Thank you for asking. All right. Fuang, have you done university exams yet?
Yes, sir. But if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4 years ago, I took in the national examinations, and I was so nervous at that time.
Did you arrive early to your test?
Yes, sir. I arrived early at 1 hour.
Right. Okay, so real situation. And did you do a good job?
Yes, sir. And I'm really grateful that I was accepted by the top 10 university in Vietnam for the trade university.
Nice. Good for you. Congratulations. So it was a good idea to go early, right?
Yes, sir. And you have taught us that going to the exam early at 1 hour and try someone to talk. So I always keep in my mind.
Yeah, so it works for the IELTS exam too, right? Absolutely. All right, Fuang, let's do this. I'm going to start you off with the same cue card, and you can give me the same answer or a different one if you like, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right, here we go. So now let's start part 2. I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to read these. Think about your answers. You can take notes in this time if you wish, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. Talk about a time you had to arrive early. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Back in April of 2018, my family and I had decided to take a trip to Dallas City for 2 week summer holiday, and this was also the first time that I had to arrive at the airport at dawn. A lot of Vietnamese people tend to pay a visit to Dallas City, especially in hot summer, so the tickets seemed to be sold out. After 3 days, my family were thrilled to bits. After receiving a phone call to take a flight at 6 a.m. in the morning after a couple of days, my family went to head out at the dawn of the day. Although I'm a heavy sleeper, I was the first one to get up even before the alarm went off at around 3 a.m. in order to be well prepared and rest in my mind. We arrived at the International Tân Airport 1 hour in advance and then sat in the lounge. While waiting for our turn, my parents grabbed some coffee and sandwiches for the whole family and talked together. We had a blast in Dallas City, not only visiting some beautiful landscapes but also try some traditional local food. On a closing note, either getting up or driving early did wonder to my life because being punctual helped me to have more time to settle in and uh, resulted in my stress-free experience.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there and we'll go on to part 3. I'm going to give you some feedback here. All right, first of all, that was really good. Phuong, you're getting better and better. Your grammar is getting very accurate and also very complex, which is really nice to hear. Your pacing, your confidence, you're improving, Phuong. It's good. Keep practicing the pronunciation, and that's also improving. So as where your pronunciation was maybe like a 5, 6 before, I think it's definitely now closer to a 7. I can understand most of the words that you're using quite clearly. Okay, and your fluency was good too. Let me highlight some good points here. I think that would score you like a band 7.5 to 8, Phuong, for sure. Okay, very natural language, Phuong, really good. Are you doing a lot of like repetition of movies and native speakers, Phuong?
Yes, sir. When scrolling TikTok or watching movie, I try to repeat the actor speaking.
Yeah, you're doing really well. You're doing a really good job. So notice how Phuong, first of all, just answered the question very clearly. So back in April of 2018, my family and I decided to take a trip to the Lost City. At first, I thought you said Dallas City, and I'm like, okay. But then you said Lost City a few more times, and it became very clear that you're talking about the Lost City. So I remember, I think last week or the week before, I told you that the subject has to be clear, and you should repeat it clearly, and you did. So that was really good. Okay, and then you use some really nice complex sentences. So here, Phuong says, although I'm a heavy sleeper, I was the first one to get up. That was really good. Okay, a heavy sleeper is somebody who is deep in sleep and they don't wake up easily. It's a heavy sleeper. So very nice collocation with that word or those words. Okay, also good use of adjectives. So you didn't just say arrive to the airport, but you said arrive to the international airport. Some nice natural language here, everybody. So repeat these expressions because these are really good and Phuong is teaching us. So Phuong said, my parents grabbed some coffee and sandwiches. When a person says grabbed some coffee and sandwiches, it means they quickly get these items. So they quickly got some coffee and sandwiches. So grabbed some coffee and sandwiches. Okay, and then a really nice, it was just nice all the way to the end, Phuong. So he said, being punctual helped me to have some time to settle in and resulted in my stress-free experience. Really nice string of words there, Phuong. So I think your English now is fantastic. Just keep working on intonation and pronunciation. And one good tip for that, Phuong, to keep improving that is to be extreme. Do you know what I mean by that, to be extreme?
No, sir.
Okay, so to be extreme, I guess another way I could tell you is to be melodramatic. Do you know this word, melodramatic?
Hmm, I'm afraid I don't know the meaning of
Yeah,
that
it's
word.
it's a tricky one. We use this word in acting or in theater, okay? It means an exaggeration of reality. So, for instance, let's just take one of your sentences here. So, when you say being punctual helped me to have some time to settle in and resulted in my stress free experience, that's the natural way to say it. Now, if I wanted to be melodramatic, okay, then I could do it like this: being punctual helped me to have some time to settle in and resulted in my stress free experience. So that's melodramatic when it's like extreme, when it's over the top. And when you practice doing that, Fuang, then your speech will become more natural in everyday conversation. Do you get what I mean?
Like express my emotion to the listener, sir.
Yeah, but when you're practicing, exaggerate it. Practice exaggerating your emotion and exaggerating your pronunciation, okay?
Okay, sir, I can see it right now.
Try it. Try it with this sentence.
Um, Being punctual helped me to have some time settling and resulted in my stress-free experience.
Nice. And that actually sounded quite natural on my end. Okay?
Okay, sir.
So practice that. All right. Thank you so much, Fawn. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir, for giving me feedback, and I really appreciate that I'm improving a lot in my speaking. Thank you, sir.
Bye, Fawn.
Bye bye, sir.
Being melodramatic. So melodrama. Melodrama is taught in theater and in acting to help actors and actresses present their roles, present their speaking effectively. Okay, so melodrama is good. Okay, melodrama is a good technique. All right, everybody got that? Melodrama, yes. Practice melodrama for your presentations, because when we're presenting, and in part two, that's what we're doing. We're presenting. You actually want to be a bit melodramatic. Okay. Thanks for all the thumbs up, everybody. Everybody understand that word? We can make that the key word of the day. Melodramatic. Melodramatic. Okay. There are a lot of ways to be melodramatic. Google it. Look it up. Okay. Practice it. Yes? All right. Okay, let's do this. So let's take somebody else. So this is a members chat class. So members and premium students are getting first shot at this, but of course everybody's welcome to give it a try. Gopu here is very patient. Gopu, are you ready? If you're a member, let me know. All right. Don't be shy. Gopu says yes. Ooh.
Hey, hello, sir.
Hi, Gopu. How are you?
I'm great, sir. And how about you, sir?
I am also doing fantastic, Gopu. All right. So, Gopu, melodramatic.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially, I advise it for you. Do you know why?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So whenever I talk, I kind of talk out of exaggeration, like the things, I mean, the facts or everything. But yeah, I tried. I'm trying, sir.
Good, Gopu. Yeah, the reason I'm saying this, Gopu, is because I know that your diction. Do you know this word diction? Diction.
Um,
Diction.
I have heard about it. It is kind of the way we speak, like the intonation and
Mm-hmm.
the
Yep.
the way. Mhm.
Yeah, you're missing just one little piece, but you're right. You're almost it's almost a perfect explanation. So it's the way that each individual speaks, right? So the
Mm.
way each
Mhm.
individual speaks, choice of words, intonation, enunciation. So it's the study of our communication, or how we actually speak. It's quite interesting because we have parts of language that are characteristic to our culture and our country, right? So there's kind of a way that people in India speak, or there's a kind of a way that people in Italy speak, or kind of a way that people in Canada speak. But then, of course,
Mm.
each person, like each person in India or each person in Canada, has their own unique style of speaking, right? Which is including all of these pieces, like
Mm.
as well as speed,
Mhm.
right? And
Right,
Gopu,
right.
your diction, your personal diction is it
Mm.
sounds very intelligent and methodical. So when I'm speaking to you, I always get this feeling like you're really thinking deeply
Yeah,
about what you're
I do
saying,
something.
what you're going to say.
Yeah,
And that tends to really flatten your communication,
absolutely.
right?
Mm.
So when you're
Yeah,
speaking, it's kind of like, okay, the answer to this question
yeah,
is,
yeah, yeah.
right?
I think you got everything like
Right,
I don't
so
know.
which is good. I mean, it's good to think before you speak. It's good to speak intelligently, right? But at the
Right.
same time, the irony is that can make it difficult for your listener to get what you're saying, because they're like, okay, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? What are you saying? Right? So, so, so what I want you to do is really be melodramatic. Okay, try to just really intonate when you're doing this part too. All right, sounds good.
Mhm.
All
Yeah,
right,
I'll try my best.
get into it. Get into it. Get
All right,
angry.
all
So, one way I sometimes say this to students who
right.
have your diction is I say, get angry, get a little angry. Okay. All right. Here we go. So
Okay.
let's begin part two. Talk about a time when you had to arrive early. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
The time that I had to break the destination very early was for an adventure trip with my friends, which actually happened a year ago, and I had to uh, reach the destination at 5 a.m., which is a bund. It's good. It's like called Tanermakam bund. So it's like 2.5 hours from my home. So I had to wake up like 3 a.m. The sad fact was the yesterday, I mean the day before, I mean that night I was really sick and I talked with my friends. It is, I'm not sure about the my participation in that trip. However, I mean, with luckily I mean, at the right time I felt really good, and I went to the destination and uh, at the I mean 15 minutes before. So at that time also we were waiting for two more friends to reach the destination, and at that time, we planned about the trip and the timing and everything. So at the end, they chose me to be the lead and take the lead for the trip, since I had the navigation halter and everything with me. So yeah, that was an unforgettable uh, memory that I had. I mean, we were able to reach the destination at the right time, and which is the place called Ilavira Punyara. So the place was mesmerizingly beautiful. So we enjoyed the trip very well, and this was the time that I had to reach the destination a little early, and
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there. And we will now go on to part three. All right, Gopu, good. Good, good, good. Yeah, there you go. See, I could tell that you took my advice and you were in some parts where you started to kind of go down like this. I could tell that your brain was literally like, no, 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 you got to be melodramatic. And then you went back up. Like, you're like, what did you say? You're like, so I had to wake up at like 3 a.m. and you jumped back up with your voice. You're like, and at 3 a.m. And it was good. That was good. That was good. That's exactly what I wanted you to do. So as soon as your kind of mind started to settle down and go down, you went back up again, because that's what English does. English is like that. English is a kind of a jumpy language, not as jumpy as Italian. I'm sure Domenico will tell us about that, but it is a jumpy language. It is kind of a romance language as well. So it goes up and down. So you don't want to go down, because for English listeners, when English is spoken in a flat kind of way, it makes it hard to understand. So in English, intonation is very important. I would imagine that in Italian, French, Spanish also, it's very important. So for comprehension and coherence, and those are very important scores. So that was good. So that's what I want you to practice, Gopu. Okay, keep practicing this up with it, and I guarantee you will get a better band score in your speaking when you do that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Every time practice at Gopu. Okay, so yes, sir. So do it in part 1. Part 3 also, for every question. Really try to just jump back up with your language. Okay. It was good. So you made some slight grammatical mistakes, some word choice mistakes. I think you would get a 6.5 for sure, maybe a 7 for that. Okay, that was quite good. So it was definitely between fluent and good English, no question about that. Okay. Couple of slight tense mistakes, but it was okay. Just repeat after me. You said choose instead of chose here. So in the end, they chose me to take the lead on this trip since I was punctual and I had figured out the navigation.
And in the end, they chose me to lead the trip because they think that
Okay, I'm going to
was
say the
really
last part again,
punctual.
just a sec. I had been punctual and I had figured out the navigation.
Since I had been punctual and I figured out how the navigation really suits for this trip.
I had figured out the
And
navigation.
okay, I had been right, sir.
I had figured out, not had been, just had.
Yes.
It's
I
active.
had figured out
I
it
had
right.
figured out the navigation.
I had figured out the navigation.
Okay, good. One more time. In the end, they chose me to take the lead on this trip since I had been punctual and I had figured out the navigation.
In the end, they chose me to lead take. Sorry. In the end, they chose me to take the lead for that adventure trip because since I have been really punctual and I had figured out the navigation.
Good. All right. So now you've got the clear idea. So now you just want to practice that fluency and that intonation. Okay, Gopu?
Right. Yes, I will do that, sir.
Awesome. Okay, Gopu, keep doing it because you're sounding better when you are melodramatic.
Yeah.
And
I believe you, sir. When we have the right training, right coaching, we'll do better.
oh,
That is what
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, Gopu. All right, Gopu, keep it up and we'll talk again soon, okay?
Surely, sir. Sure. Yeah. Take care.
Bye, Gopu. All right, I'm just going to, I think I might have to refresh. I'm not sure. Yeah, Domenico, just ping me again. I just need to refresh my page here. I'm going to do a shift refresh. Let me just open this up again for us. I think a lot of us are pinging the server here. Let me do something else here in the back end. Just bear with me, everybody. And you're actually not might, you will have to reconnect here. Okay. And then it should work. So let me just go back to the student account. Hopefully it'll work. Yes. Okay, there we go. All right. It will now, Amra. Try it now. It'll open. I just rebooted the server, so it'll work just fine. All right, Domenico. Let's see if you're there. Are you there? If you're there, Domenico, let me know. Yes, you are. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Domenico. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. What about you?
I am also doing great. Now, Domenico, you know what I'm going to say to you?
What?
What? Be less melodramatic. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm kidding with you. Be yourself, Domenico. Don't be more melodramatic. Just be yourself. Domenico.
Yeah, I try to be myself.
Yeah. I mean, Domenico, you're Italian, of course, right?
Yeah, I am.
And
Yes, I am.
And the Italian language is one of the most enunciated languages in the world, no question about it, right? When I was in Italy,
Yes.
I was amazed.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
When I visited Italy in 2005, and I learned very quickly. I learned the word prego, and I did. I learned it right away. And
You're welcome.
And I was amazed at how much can be communicated with just that one melodramatic. Everybody's like, prego. And I'm like, wow, really? You can say that much with that one word. It's incredible. So Italian is very enunciated, which means that when Italians learn other languages, for you it's kind of the opposite. You almost have to kind of like take it easy.
You need to learn how to articulate each word. It's not easy. It's not easy for anybody.
I agree. It's very challenging. Yeah, especially as adults, right?
Yeah.
As children, we kind of pick it up, but as adults, it's tricky. So, Domenico, just be you. I'm going to start you off. Give me a nice full answer. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. So talk about a time when you had to arrive early. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Well, if my memory serves me correctly, there was a time back in 2013 when I had to arrive early, around 8 a.m. For the first meeting with my new supervisor, which had been scheduled 2 days after my arrival in Zalava, Veracruz, Mexico, as my supervisor decided to give me time to recover from the long-haul flight and accustom to the time zone. I landed in Veracruz on the evening of May 29th, feeling exhausted after a 12-hour flight. For the meeting took place on June 1st, 2013. I must say that on the day I decided to arrive early at the location, which was in the city center near the accommodation I rented at the time. And I distinctly remember arriving 1 hour ahead of our meeting that morning so that I could get the feel for the place. It was a quaint little restaurant, and during the waiting time, I started exploring the local breakfast menus, which will also include a mug of aromatic local coffee that I was eager to try it out. The reason I needed to arrive early was not only to demonstrate my punctuality and professionalism, as arriving late for the first meeting would leave a negative impression on him, but also to allow him to get to know me better and forge a strong relationship. In fact, during our first meeting, We had a breakfast together and outlined the research I was going to develop throughout my stay in Zalapa while we were munching on it. I must say, I was anxious about
Okay,
our
your
first
time is up.
meeting.
I'm going to stop you there, and we will now continue to part 3. For this part, I will ask you some questions related to your response. All right, Domenico, that was great. So first of all, very nice enunciation. So you speak English quite strongly for sure. You know, that Italian part of you does come through, which is good. That helps. That helps with coherence, which is great. Really nice. Domenico, you're getting much better at not repeating yourself. So you did it once at the start. Okay. First of all, your band score would be, I think, around an 8 for that, right? If you were to say exactly what you said, but a bit more fluently, a bit more naturally, then I think you're at the band 9 mark. So you're definitely now between that very good to expert level of communicator. You just need to be more, a little bit calmer. I can tell you're, a little bit anxious to get all the information out. And just a little bit smoother. So practice that kind of smooth, calm approach, okay? And you're getting better. You're getting better. In the beginning, you said, well, if memory serves me correctly, and you repeated that twice. But again, it will come with time. You had really nice expressions, a couple of slight grammatical mistakes, a couple of slight word choice mistakes, but overall outstanding vocabulary and nice complex sentences. So you said the location was in the city center near the accommodation I had rented at the time. Very nice use of the complex sentence with the past perfect. You used some really good vocabulary. It was a quaint little restaurant. Very good. Aromatic coffee. So it wasn't just coffee, it was aromatic coffee. And then you used a nice correlative conjunction. You said the reason I decided to arrive early was not only to present my punctuality and professionalism, but also to forge a strong relationship. Everybody learn that phrase. It's a good one. Forge a strong relationship. It means create lasting, good contact with a person or a friendship. So overall, very good. So what you want to do, Domenico, is when you're doing this, record yourself, say it again, say it smoothly, say it with a little bit less anxiety.
Yeah.
And you're doing great.
This meeting happened in 2000, if my memory serves me correctly, happened on the 1st of, on June 1st. Yeah, I was, that day I was anxious because I never had the chance to work on an international project, research project, and collaborate with a person who wasn't from my country. So that day it was initially difficult for me to understand him talking to me because I wasn't familiar with the Spanish academic language, so I had to get the feel for the language. But then I got
you speak
used
Spanish?
to it.
Do you speak Spanish?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
okay.
I am.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
That's great. So, so you speak Spanish. Obviously, you speak English. Italian's your mother tongue. Any other languages?
Well, I know a little bit of French, but
Yeah, I was going to guess that. I mean, if you speak Italian and you speak Spanish, then French is just another little jump over, right? So, okay, yeah, that's great. No, Domenico, that's awesome. Glad to hear it, Domenico. That was really good. Keep it up. Keep practicing. Keep talking lots. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye, Domenico.
Bye.
All right. That was great. Domenico, thumbs up. That was awesome. Students, again, the word of the day is melodrama. Melodramatic. Okay. I want everybody to practice melodrama. Being melodramatic also builds confidence. I think if we take Gopu and we take Domenico, and we mix the two of them together a little bit and we get Gopumenico, then we're going to get a very rhythmic kind of English. It's like combining to become Super Saiyans, right? Gopu got the joke. Gopu's like, ah, right. Okay, but no, that's really the idea. That's really the idea, and I'm glad that you're all having fun with me. And I hope that you have fun with me in the next class as well. So, Anahita, Angel, come back and volunteer in the next class. Amra, come back, volunteer in the next class. I really hope to see everybody there. AEhelp.com for academic IELTS, GIELTShelp.com for general IELTS. Those are the websites where you want to go and sign up for a premium course. That's what we're using for these interactions. Talk to each other in here as well. Okay, everybody? So this is for you, not just for me. Okay? So in the 30-minute break, you can definitely talk to each other and practice your part 2 response. And for those of you who are like, cool, I want to use this website and all the features, click the big red button to join the premium version. It's a one-time payment, doesn't cost a lot, lifetime access. Our goal is to help a lot of students, not to just help a few. So general IELTS, GIELTShelp.com, the green background, okay? Okay, everybody, stretch those legs, get a glass of water, hydrate. Remember, melodrama. I'm back in 30 minutes. That's it for now, but I'll see you soon. Bye.